We have breaking news: an arrest in the storming of the U.S. Embassy in Benghazi. Let's go to Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Americans watched horrified as our embassy in Benghazi came under a vicious terror attack. We lost 4 American lives that day: Ambassador Chris Stevens, Sean Smith with the State Department, and 2 CIA contractors, Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods. We have never forgotten those heroes, and we have never stopped seeking justice for that crime against our nation. In fact, from day one, Cash and Dan would sit in meetings and say, "We're going to get them," and they did. Today, I'm proud to announce that the FBI has arrested one of the key participants behind the Benghazi attack. Zubair al-Bakosh landed at Andrews Air Force Base at 3 a.m. this morning. He is in our custody. He was greeted by Director Patel and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. Hillary Clinton famously once said about Benghazi, "What difference at this point does it make?" Well, it makes a difference to Donald Trump. It makes a difference to those families. And 14 years later, it makes a difference to law enforcement who made the difference in this case. Thank you, President Trump, for supporting all of our agencies around the country and around the world. Al-Bakosh will now face American justice on American soil. We will prosecute this alleged terrorist to the fullest extent of the law. He'll face charges related to murder, terrorism, arson, among others. Let this case serve as a reminder: if you commit a crime against the American people anywhere in this world, President Trump's Justice Department will find you. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen. You can run, but you cannot hide. We are immensely grateful to our partners, especially at the State Department and the CIA, who lost lives in the Benghazi attack. Director Patel and the FBI agents did tireless work to track and arrest this man. I want to thank everyone standing behind me, all the agents who work so great with our lawyers, with our national security lawyers, and around the world to bring this terrorist to justice. And I have a statement to read from Director Radcliffe. He wanted to be here. He couldn't be here. He's busy protecting our world. He's deeply grateful for the relentless efforts of the Department of Justice and the FBI to bring justice to the individual allegedly responsible for the death of Americans in the horrific 2012 Benghazi attack. CIA and the nation will never forget the extraordinary services and sacrifices of Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty, who gave their lives in defense of others and exemplified the very best of our agency. I'd now like to turn it over to Director Patel for remarks, and I again want to thank him for his relentless work in this case.
General, thank you. And I want to steal one of your lines. Never forget. Pam never forgot. The President never forgot. This FBI never forgot. And certainly U.S. Attorney Pirro never forgot. When an act of terrorism of this magnitude strikes at the heart of our nation, we go to work. President Trump has given us the full resources at the FBI and across the interagency to make sure we deliver justice. And Pam, you're right. Dan and I did sit down early on about this to bring justice, but you led the effort. You brought together the interagency. You said we are going to get this done because no one agency alone can do it. So we are thankful to have an Attorney General at the Department of Justice who works together with every single cabinet secretary and enforce the law. What you saw today, and I want to get, or what you're going to see today, I want to address in a minute, but I want to remind the folks out there the work of this Department of Justice. We were here just a few short months ago talking about how we were going to raise the RFJ for another violent offender on the run, Ryan Wedding. And what did we do under Attorney General's leadership? And what did we do when President Trump said, go get the worst of the worst? We captured him. We captured together, under President Trump's leadership, 6 of the FBI's most wanted fugitives in 1 calendar year. To put that in perspective, that is 2 more than the entirety of the prior administration. And you cannot do that alone at the FBI. You have to have an attorney general and a Department of Justice willing to prosecute, willing to go to the four corners of the earth and make sure we deliver justice. And that's what we're doing here today. I was at the airfield with U.S. Attorney Pirro earlier this morning when we did the formal foreign transfer of custody of Bakush into U.S. custody to face prosecution under her auspices and her office. And the Department of Justice are going to execute justice for the fallen. As a young prosecutor at CTS, the National Security Division, I worked on the Benghazi case. This was very near and dear and personal to me. We lost 4 brave Americans in Chris, Sean, Kyle, and Steve. And we can never, ever, ever forget them. Ever. And we will not. In order to put something like this together, it doesn't happen overnight. The FBI's hostage rescue team, the FBI's critical incident response group, our special flight operations unit, and countless others, along with the agents in the New York field office who never forgot Benghazi and never let the world forget it, endured over a decade to bring yet another terrorist who killed 4 Americans to justice. That is a relentless pursuit of mission. That can only happen when you have an interagency who's willing to get after it. I'm extremely thankful to the CIA and Director Ratcliffe and our other law enforcement partners for making sure that the world knows that if you kill an American citizen in an act of terrorism, we will hunt you down. We will bring you to justice, and you will face justice here in America, not in another court and not in any other proceeding around the world, but here. You killed our own, so we are going to take it to the streets to make sure you are held accountable. Once again, I'd really like to thank the entirety of the FBI, headquarters divisions. There are so many moving pieces to actually execute a foreign transfer of custody.
All right, you have been watching a press conference being given by the Attorney General Pam Bondi, the FBI Director Kash Patel, and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. They have announced that there has been an arrest made in that 2012 Benghazi attack on the U.S. consulate there in Libya. And so let's go to former FBI Assistant Director Steve Jensen. He's joining us now to talk about this. This is sort of a long time coming, Steve. I mean, we didn't believe that there would ever actually be an arrest in that bombing. I don't know where Steve is. Steve still there?
I'm here.
Okay, there you are. But we know that 4 Americans were killed in that horrific day. So talk to us about how this investigation would have proceeded, because it's taken many, many years. But what I do appreciate about this is that the FBI, and along with their partners, have been constantly working this case ever since those 4 Americans were killed.
Well, first, thank you for having me on. And the breaking news with this press conference is a good day for America. It shows the tenacity of the type of investigation that the FBI is known for, and for never giving up, never relenting on finding justice for the victims, and even bringing one terrorist back to U.S. soil to face trial in our justice system is a win for all Americans. So first and foremost, it's a good day to hear news like this. When Benghazi happened in 2012, the New York field office rapidly opened an investigation and began aggressively working to find out who was responsible for it. International investigations are complex. It requires ongoing cooperation with foreign partners. It requires U.S. State Department cooperation, the CIA, all agencies, just to identify and locate subjects, let alone bring them back to the United States. The fact that they got this done and have one subject in custody on American soil is fantastic news.
So, Steve, you were at FBI when this attack occurred in 2012. I mean, we all remember the political fallout afterward, but just take us back to that moment when this attack occurred, 4 lives lost, and the complexity that you just alluded to there of pursuing these assailants.
So I was assigned to the New York field office from 2006 to 2012 when I first went to headquarters. And I remember when Benghazi happened and knowing that my peers in the New York field office were leading that effort to respond to the horrific attack and the loss of U.S. lives in Benghazi. There's always a sense that I should be there with them. And I know many in law enforcement feel the same way. Knowing the caliber of the people, the leaders, all the way up through the assistant director in charge of the field office, to lead that investigation in the right manner, to bring justice no matter how long it takes. And that is the key with the FBI, is justice doesn't have a term limit. We will pursue it until we can bring justice, and the FBI is showing that today with the Department of Justice.
Yeah, that is something that I was thinking, Steve, which is that it doesn't matter what administration, which president is in office at the time, because as you know, there have been multiple arrests in this Benghazi attack subsequent to that. Most recently, Ahmed Abu Khatala, who was captured back in 2014. That was under President Obama. He was convicted, tried and convicted under President Donald Trump. And now you've got this arrest, right? So the work of the FBI, her partners, the CIA and others, goes on regardless of what is happening in D.C.
It's a great point. And we know that many people were involved in the attack on Benghazi and our embassy there. Those who facilitated, coordinated, and planned it are the key to identifying, and those who remain alive, and can we continue to identify them and bring them to justice? And that requires coordination with DOD assets as well as Department of Justice assets. I don't believe this investigation is done just because another arrest is made.
Yep.
There are probably still remaining leads that need to be covered.
For sure.
And just to repeat, this person is being charged for murder, terrorism, arson, among other charges.
All right, Steve, we're going to check in with you a little bit later as we continue to listen in on the Attorney General and the FBI Director. But thanks so much for joining us for this breaking news.